The Great Sphinx of Giza, silent and majestic, gazes across the desert sands. Towering 66 feet high and 240 feet long, this ancient guardian has stood watch for thousands of years. Yet one question refuses to disappear. What happened to its nose? It's not just missing, it's completely gone. And nobody seems to agree on who or what removed it. This isn't just about a statue's face. It's about power, faith, destruction, and one of history's strangest unsolved mysteries. Let's rewind. The Sphinx is believed to have been carved during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre around 2500 BCE. Its body, lion-shaped, represents strength. Its human head, likely Khafre himself, symbolizes wisdom. For millennia, the Sphinx lay buried up to its neck in sand. When it finally re-emerged in modern times, one thing was clear: its nose was missing. This has sparked a whirlwind of theories, ranging from war damage to religious vandalism to even aliens. One popular myth blames Napoleon's troops. The story goes that during his 1798 Egyptian campaign, French soldiers used the Sphinx for target practice. Cannons fired, the nose shattered. But there's a big problem. Sketches made before Napoleon's arrival already show the Sphinx missing its nose. The myth might be dramatic, but it's historically inaccurate. So if it wasn't the French, who or what did it? Let's follow the evidence. From ancient graffiti to medieval legends, early records mention the Sphinx's face even in antiquity. The Arab historian al-Makrizi, writing in the 15th century, blamed a Sufi Muslim named Muhammad Sa'im al-Dar. In outrage over local villagers worshipping the Sphinx as a deity, al-Dar is said to have defaced it. He was later executed. But this story is centuries after the fact and based on oral traditions. Is it a religiously motivated tale or a glimpse of the truth? Another clue comes from a 14th century Arab historian named al-Qutubi. He claimed that the Sphinx had once been worshipped and its nose was removed to stop idolatry. But like many medieval accounts, details are murky. There's no proof al-Dar existed, and earlier Islamic writers like al-Maqdisi saw the Sphinx and never mentioned its nose at all. Could the legend have evolved to justify damage already done centuries earlier? Ancient photos and sketches support this. In the 1502, drawings by European travelers show a noseless Sphinx. These include one by the Danish explorer Frederick Norden in 173760 years before Napoleon. The absence of the nose predates many invasions and rulers. That narrows the timeline considerably. If the nose was missing before the 18th century, could its destruction date back to the Middle Ages or even earlier? Could the nose have simply fallen off? That's one theory. The Sphinx is carved from limestone, which erodes easily. Thousands of years of desert winds, rain, and heat could weaken any protruding part. But archaeologists doubt this. The break isn't clean or weathered. Instead, it looks deliberate. In fact, 18th century drawings show tool marks around the damaged area. Someone used a chisel. Someone intended to remove that nose. Enter the work of Selim Hassan, a pioneering Egyptian archaeologist in the 1922. He documented the Sphinx in detail and reported that chiseling marks were present around the nose bridge. This implies that it was intentionally removed, not eroded naturally. Who had the motive and the means to commit such an act? To answer that, we have to dig into religious, political, and even artistic motives across multiple civilizations. In ancient Egypt, statues were believed to contain the Ka, or spiritual essence. Damaging the face, especially the nose, was seen as severing the statue's connection to life. Without a nose, the statue could no longer breathe spiritually. This adds weight to the theory that the Sphinx's nose was removed intentionally. Someone might have feared its power or wanted to symbolically kill it. Graffiti carved into the Sphinx tells another story. Some inscriptions on the monument date back to the Ottoman period. Travelers and soldiers often left their marks literally. Though most didn't damage the face, it shows the Sphinx was regularly visited, touched, and altered. Could some overzealous visitor or group have chiseled off the nose for a souvenir? Ancient relics were prized by collectors and treasure hunters. In the 19th century, as Egyptomania swept Europe, ancient relics were looted or purchased en masse. From obelisks to mummies, Western collectors took whatever they could find. The nose, a prominent feature, could have been stolen and sold. But where is it now? No museum or private collection has ever produced a Sphinx nose. If it was stolen, it has either been lost, hidden, or destroyed. Let's revisit Muhammad Sa'im al-Dar. According to medieval sources, he was horrified by local farmers praying to the Sphinx to end a drought. Seeing it as idolatry, he destroyed the nose to end the worship. He was later arrested and executed. While this account sounds plausible, it's also vague. No physical evidence confirms it. And the timing is off. Earlier sketches suggest the nose was missing long before. Another idea: iconoclasm during the early Islamic period. In the 7th–10th centuries, Islamic rulers often destroyed idols or faces of statues. Religious interpretation forbade human images in sacred contexts. Many pharaonic temples were repurposed or defaced. The nose, as the most human and prominent part of the face, would be the logical place to strike first. Could this be the real reason? Others believe the Romans might be responsible. Egypt was a Roman province from 30 BCE onward. Roman soldiers visited the Giza plateau often. Statues in other areas were also defaced or destroyed during their campaigns. There's no direct record of Roman soldiers attacking the Sphinx, but we know their rule brought widespread damage to Egyptian monuments. Could the Sphinx have been another victim? Now, let's examine ancient depictions. Surprisingly, there are very few accurate images of the Sphinx from ancient times. Egyptians didn't often draw or write about the monument. That silence adds to the mystery. Why didn't they record such an iconic statue in more detail? Some scholars suggest the Sphinx may have been covered by sand for much of history, only partly uncovered during certain dynasties. Historical records show that the Sphinx was buried up to its neck in sand for centuries. Thutmose IV, around 1400 BCE, famously cleared the sand in a dream-inspired excavation. The dream stele between the paws tells this tale. It's possible the nose was still intact at that time, but we can't be sure. If the nose broke off later while the body remained buried, it could go unnoticed. In 1817, Italian explorer Giovanni Caviglia partially excavated the Sphinx's body. Later, French engineer Émile Barreze led a major effort in the 1922 to fully uncover it. Both noted the missing nose but found no fragments nearby. If the nose had simply fallen off, it would likely remain buried near the statue. But it's gone, no rubble, no relics. That suggests one thing: the nose was intentionally removed and taken away. So what did the Sphinx's nose even look like? Archaeologists estimate it was about 1 meter, 3 feet wide, a massive, distinct feature that protruded far from the face. Some even suggest it may have resembled Nubian features, broad and rounded, possibly indicating racial identity. This has added political layers to the debate. Was it destroyed to erase a part of African heritage? Or is that a modern interpretation of an ancient act? In modern pop culture, the missing Sphinx nose has become a symbol. It's featured in films, memes, and debates about colonialism and cultural erasure. Some claim that ancient African identities were suppressed, and the Sphinx's damage reflects that. Whether historically accurate or not, the myth has power. It reveals how much emotion and meaning a missing chunk of limestone can generate. But the real history is far more complex. Let's look at ancient Egyptian vandalism. Pharaohs often defaced previous rulers' monuments to erase their memory. The practice, called damnatio memoriae, involved chiseling out names and faces. Some believe rival dynasties may have targeted the Sphinx similarly. Was it seen as a symbol of a rival god-king? Could the nose have been removed, not by foreign invaders, but by Egyptians themselves during times of political upheaval? The Sphinx wasn't just a statue. It stood at the very heart of Egyptian ritual space, near the pyramids and temples of Giza. It faced the rising sun, a symbol of rebirth and divine power. Whoever controlled it or destroyed part of it made a public statement. Removing the nose may have been a deliberate act of ideological warfare, a way of humiliating past beliefs or deities. There's another theory too: souvenir hunters. In the 17th and 18th centuries, wealthy European collectors paid locals to chisel artifacts off temples and statues. It's entirely possible that someone offered money for the Sphinx's nose or simply took it. After all, back then, no one imagined preserving ancient monuments. Could the nose be sitting in a forgotten box in a European museum basement? Archaeologists have tried to digitally reconstruct the Sphinx's face, using 3D scans and ancient models. Teams at Harvard and Egyptian universities suggest a softer, broader face than popular Western depictions. The nose, especially, appears round and wide in reconstructions. Its loss isn't just cosmetic. It changes the identity we project onto the Sphinx. Without the nose, we've lost part of its expression, personality, and perhaps even its message. The mystery deepens when you consider this. The Sphinx is far from the only defaced statue in Egypt. Hundreds of temple carvings, royal faces, and godly images have had noses, eyes, or mouths destroyed. Ancient Egyptians believed that statues could see and breathe. By destroying a nose, they were silencing and killing that power. The Sphinx's damage may have been just one example of a widespread ritual tradition. Could natural disasters be to blame? Egypt has seen earthquakes throughout history, including major ones in the 1302nd and 1702nd. Could a tremor have caused the nose to crack and fall? Again, experts say unlikely. The break is too clean. Tool marks suggest it was manually removed, not shaken loose. But it's possible that an earthquake weakened the structure, making it easier to pry off later. The dream stele between the Sphinx's paws tells a tale of a prince who dreamed the Sphinx promised him kingship if he cleared its sand. That prince became Pharaoh Thutmose IV. The story shows reverence for the Sphinx, but also a message. The Sphinx had divine power. If later rulers or invaders rejected that power, they may have targeted it. Cutting off the nose may have been a symbolic decrowning. Even today, visitors are stunned by the Sphinx's scale, but few realize just how detailed its face once was. Ancient records describe painted features, red skin tones, black-lined eyes, even a ceremonial beard. The nose, no doubt, was part of that vibrant identity. By removing it, someone erased more than a face, they erased a voice. The Sphinx no longer speaks its original message. We return to Napoleon. Despite the myth, there's no record that his soldiers ever fired on the Sphinx. In fact, Napoleon brought scientists and artists to Egypt. They admired ancient monuments, even if some damage occurred. The idea that Napoleon shot the Sphinx appears to have originated in a satirical cartoon. But the myth spread because people needed someone to blame. So where does that leave us? Theories abound. Sufi iconoclasts, Roman soldiers, medieval treasure hunters, natural decay, even ancient pharaohs themselves. Each theory has flaws. Each is missing one thing: proof. And maybe that's why the mystery endures. The Sphinx's missing nose is more than a historical puzzle. It's a mirror. It reflects how we view history, power, and ourselves. In many ways, the mystery has become part of the Sphinx's identity. Its broken face tells a story not just of time, but of conflict, worship, destruction, and memory. The missing nose forces us to ask deeper questions. What is sacred? Who controls history? And who decides what gets remembered or erased? There's something poetic about the absence of the Sphinx's nose. Like a scar on a hero's face, it tells us there's a story beneath the surface. That damage invites questions. It challenges the perfection of ancient Egypt and reminds us that even gods carved in stone are not immune to time, war, and ideology. The missing nose became an icon of mystery, and in that, it continues to shape the Sphinx's legend more than its original design ever could. Today, the Sphinx is constantly monitored by archaeologists, drones, and 3D scanners. Its face, even damaged, is scanned and replicated in virtual reality, museums, and souvenirs. The nose, ironically, is more famous by its absence than it would have been by its presence. Students learn about it not just as a statue, but as a symbol of lost history. It's a reminder that sometimes the things we can't see raise the biggest questions. If the nose were ever recovered, say, hidden in a private collection or museum vault, it would cause a sensation. Would Egypt demand its return? Would it even fit after centuries of erosion? Or would people prefer the Sphinx just the way it is, mysterious and incomplete? After all, it's that mystery that fuels imagination, tourism, documentaries, and perhaps even conspiracy theories. Some puzzles are more powerful unsolved. As historians, we search for truth, but sometimes myth becomes stronger than fact. Was it the Mamluks, the French, erosion, or a forgotten pharaoh? We may never know. But every generation reinvents the mystery, finds new meaning in it. That's the beauty of ancient monuments. They don't just preserve the past, they evolve with us. The Sphinx isn't a frozen relic, it's a living conversation. In school books and social media, the Sphinx's missing nose sparks debates that go far beyond Egypt. It invites questions about cultural preservation, colonial theft, artistic legacy, and the fragility of memory. Each chip of stone that's missing from history leaves space for interpretation. That's both the danger and the power of lost artifacts. They can be claimed, reimagined, even weaponized by different voices across time. The desert around the Sphinx is shifting constantly. Sandstorms bury and uncover layers of its story. In many ways, the Sphinx is a symbol not just of Egypt, but of time itself. Slow, silent, eroding, revealing. Its missing nose isn't just a crack in history, it's a fracture in human storytelling. A break where thousands of voices now try to fill in the silence with their own truths. Imagine standing before the Sphinx at dawn. The sun rises, casting light across its weathered face. Its gaze stretches toward eternity, nose or no nose. You realize that this monument has seen more empires rise and fall than any king or queen alive today. The missing nose? It's just one chapter. The real wonder is that the Sphinx is still here, still watching, still asking us to look closer. There's something deeply human about trying to solve ancient riddles. We look at the Sphinx, and we don't just ask about stone, we ask about ourselves. Who gets remembered? Who gets erased? What does power look like when it's broken? And how much of history is shaped by silence? The nose of the Sphinx is missing, but the questions it raises are louder than ever. In the end, the Sphinx doesn't need its nose to command respect. Its mystery, majesty, and resilience speak volumes. It reminds us that history is fragile but also powerful. And sometimes, what's missing tells a louder story than what remains. The Sphinx survived war, sand, conquest, and time. And it still inspires awe, not because it's perfect, but because it endures. So who stole the nose of the Sphinx? Was it a conqueror, a vandal, a rival, or nature itself? We may never know, but perhaps the better question is, why does it matter so much? The missing nose invites us to look beyond the obvious, to question stories, to seek meaning in brokenness. In that way, the Sphinx still speaks not through its mouth, but through its silence.